Ramaphosa has appointed Dr. Mampo Modise as the new Deputy Governor of the South African Reserve Bank for a period of 5 years with effect from the 1st of April 2024. The President has expressed his gratitude to former DG Naidu for his contribution at the Reserve Bank and wishes Dr. Modise well in her new role. The statement that we will issue will have some details or highlights of Dr. Modise's CV, and the team is releasing the statement as we speak. We will now then move on to the public engagement program of the President for the period up to the 31st of March. This public engagement program takes place during an important calendar month as we mark National Human Rights Day in South Africa. As you will all know, President Ramaphosa's administration has remained unwavering and committed to advancing the rights of all vulnerable groups in society. The President is pleased on the journey we have traveled to ensure the promotion and protection of human rights in all facets of our society, particularly for children. We mark this Human Rights Day under the recurring and persistent surge of attacks on the basic rights of the vulnerable groups in society. Hence, the President reiterates his call for society to frown upon the scourge of violent crimes committed against women and children, which is a direct onslaught and a threat to the progress we have made in the adherence of human rights. The President believes that everyone must enjoy their constitutional given rights freely as the inherent basic principles of freedom and democracy. President Ramaphosa remains committed on the protection of rights not only for this month of March, but as a daily practice in South Africa. We look forward to the President delivering the keynote address during the National Human Rights Commemoration on the 21st of March, which marks more than 6 decades under freedom and democracy. The Constitution enshrines the rights of all citizens and affirms the democratic values of human dignity, equality, and freedom, irrespective of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, and any other status. We urge all South Africans to commemorate and remember all those gallant men and women to whom today's freedom is written in their blood. We are united in the progress we have made and unified in the work we need to do to address the lingering socio-economic challenges. Government continues to intensify the fight against gender-based violence and femicide, which the President has described as the country's second pandemic. As part of the intervention, government has introduced new laws to protect women and children in South Africa from abuse and violence. We are implementing new legislation which has strengthened the criminal justice system, put more effective deterrents in place to promote accountability, and enabled better protection and support for survivors. This includes the Criminal Law, Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act, which amongst others, regulates the reporting obligation on people who are aware that sexual offences have been committed against persons who are vulnerable. The Criminal Law Forensic Procedures Amendment Act is vital as it introduces mandatory DNA collection for certain crimes. The Domestic Violence Amendment Act and Criminal and Related Matters Amendment Act are further interventions that will help in protecting vulnerable groups in South Africa. Tomorrow, the 16th of March, President Ramaphosa will join His Majesty King Misuzulu Kazoltini, who will be leading the royal family and Amabutho at the 110th anniversary commemoration of King Dinuzulu Katetshwayo at Kwaqeza in Zululand. King Dinuzulu was a symbol of resistance against colonialism as he confronted various onslaughts, which included imprisonment from colonial governments which disregarded the institutions of traditional authority. He succeeded his father, King Cetshwayo, as the king of the Zulu nation. The commemoration is a stark reminder of the untold sufferings and humiliation in the struggle journey which our forebears confronted that led to the freedom and democracy we enjoy today. The President will commence the commemoration by paying respects to King Dinuzulu Memorial at the King Dinuzulu Memorial at Ebukhosini, where he will lay a wreath in honor of the late Ngonyama. In a collaboration with the royal household, academics, historians, and cultural groups, various activities are underway, among them the King Dinuzulu Commemorative Conference, Choral Music Festival, research and publication on the role of King Dinuzulu, and notable traditional leaders in influencing South Africa's trajectory towards democracy. This commemoration serves as a testament to the enduring legacy of King Dinuzulu and the continued importance of acknowledging shared history. The commemoration event will take place at Kwaceza, a venue of historical significance where King Dinuzulu launched a decisive attack against colonial forces, emerging victorious in the eastern parts of the town of Nongoma. Kuyamjabulisa kakhulu uMongameli Ramaphosa ukuthola ithuba lokuthi ahlanganyele nesizwe sakaZulu nabantu baseNingizimu Afrika yonkana ekubungazeni isilo esakhothama uDinuzulu. On Monday, the 18th of March, the President will address the National Conference on the State of Human Rights, marking the 30th anniversary of constitutional democracy and human rights in South Africa. The conference will be hosted by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development from the 18th to the 20th of March at the Birchwood Conference Center in Spokesperson, and it will be held under the theme Thread Decades of Respect for and Promotion of Human Rights. The conference is premised on the department's mandate, the custodian of the Constitution and effective administration of the law. The conference will also assess the institutions that are meant to uphold constitutional democracy in South Africa. The outcome of this conference is envisaged to be the baseline for benchmarking government's implementation of the contract. On the 19th of March, the President will proceed to address the third installment of the Sustainable Infrastructure Development Symposium of South Africa. The symposium will provide view of the infrastructure project pipeline and focus on closing the infrastructure investment gap. It will be a platform where the public sector will engage with the private sector. Amongst the issues that will be unveiled is the new pipeline of economic infrastructure projects that will receive project preparation from Infrastructure South Africa. There will also be the launch of the inaugural 2024-25 construction book. We expect about 22 ministers that deal with infrastructure-related issues from their respective countries across the continent to be in attendance. On that very same day, on the 19th of March, the President will officially attend to the call by the National Assembly to respond to questions for oral reply. The President's appearance in the National Assembly will complete the fourth term parliamentary program cycle. This is in accordance with the President's obligation in terms of the rules of the National Assembly. The President will reflect on questions ranging from land reform programs in the agricultural sector, lifestyle audits that will be conducted, starting with members of the executive, and the presidential employment stimulus, among some of the questions. On the 20th of March, the President will deliver the keynote address at the second Black Industrialists and Exporters Conference in Sandton Convention Center in Johannesburg. President Ramaphosa participated in the inaugural conference in 2022. The President will acknowledge the contribution made by Black industrialists to the South African economy while reflecting on the progress made in advancing redress and transforming a skewed racialized economy, while discussing further initiatives to strengthen economic transformation in support of greater diversity in the ownership of the economy. The intended second Black Industrialist Conference will, among others, celebrate the 20-year anniversary of the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act of 2003. It will further showcase the success of transformation policies, including BBBE and the Black Industrialist Program. There are more than 600 firms that have been supported by the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition that have showed a turnover of about 80 billion rands during the 2023-2024 financial year, which illustrates very tangible results of drawing more Black entrepreneurs into the industrial economy. As I stated in my introduction, the President will address this year's Human Rights Commemoration, which coincides with the significant milestone of the 30-year anniversary of our freedom and democracy. This year's official commemoration will take place in Sharpeville, in Gauteng province, under the theme 3 Decades of Respect for and Promotion of Human Rights. This day remains a fundamental landmark in our history and a reminder of those who fought against apartheid and colonialism. The United Nations has also declared March 21 to be the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. And then lastly, on the 26th of March, the President will address the inaugural Biodiversity Indaba and Investment Summit. The gathering will bring together stakeholders ranging from all spheres of government, traditional leaders, traditional health practitioners, communities, people, and parks, youth, wildlife, economy, bioprospecting, ecotourism, investors, business sector, and academia. So that concludes the program. After that quick run through, should there be any changes, we will colleagues. This time, I will now open the floor to questions and welcome Gert and Vital. And Gert, I won't take any questions about how well Arsenal is playing, but right, Patience, I will imagine there's some questions that have been sent through to you. So maybe let's start with the colleagues in the room because they've made the journey to here. Vital, you have the first step.
Interim Action for Justice Agency. It's about the International Court of Justice. On the 25th of February, Israel presented its reply to the interim measures imposed by the court. If South African side have access to this document, and do South African side prepare this reply, and what will be the next steps of South Africa in the International Court of Justice, or any other international bodies do you plan to move ahead?
Indeed, we have received the response from Israel, and our team has filed a response to that response. And so the process is ongoing in that regard. Gert? I'm led to believe fairly soon. Fairly soon. Fairly soon. They will be underway. Patience?
Just one question from Amanda Koza from News 24. So this refers to the DA sending a letter to the elections in South Africa. So basically her question is, does South Africa view this as an interference with South Africa's electoral process? And is this one of the things that will be discussed when Minister Naledi Pandor undertakes her visit to the US?
So let me start with that last part. Minister Pandor's visit to the US is in the normal course of bilateral engagements between South Africa and the US at various levels of both governments. It's not necessarily inspired or informed by the letter from the DA. The US, judging by the statement that was released last week, if I'm not mistaken, by the US Embassy, has already rejected this very clumsy PR stunt by the DA, which has sought to undermine the integrity of our elections. As a young democracy, we have a wonderful history of holding free and fair elections, and in some cases better than some of the countries that the DA has approached. It is important that we say, in the absence of presenting any new tangible ideas to them, please do not cast doubt on the integrity of our electoral system.
Follow up to that question regarding the elections. The question is, has the president met with net joints to discuss the possibility of violence erupting in KZN and other parts of the country during the elections?
The security cluster has been seized with preparing for the elections, and that preparation includes preparing against all possible scenarios that could arise in any part of the country. That includes KZN. I guess where really Amanda's question is coming from, it's informed by the threats that we've repeatedly heard being made against the country should some decision or the other be taken or not be taken, or whatever that is considered to be unfavorable to a particular party. The president has been quite clear on this matter that people who threaten mayhem during an election have no place in our democracy. We will even call on communities to reject those individuals and parties who are demonstrating their own bankruptcy of ideas by threatening violence. The elections are an important milestone in any democratic calendar, and they should be observed in accordance to the established rules, and they should be observed in a manner that respects everyone's right to participate. And so, as the president has said in very clear terms, anybody who seeks to threaten the stability of these elections will be dealt with by law enforcement agencies who are attending to detailed plans to ensure that we have safe elections.
There was a question, but it's been deleted. I think you've covered it.
Okay. Is that it? Okay. Kharch, Vital, you happy?
Sorry, Vincent.
Yes.
For the election thus far, I see there's been leaked lists, and some people have said that sort of delegitimize the IEC.
No, that's not accurate, and that's not true. The president is on record saying that was an isolated, unfortunate incident, which the IEC has dealt with quite decisively and expeditiously so. So there is no correlation whatsoever between deviant behavior of one particular individual who has been dealt with the overall integrity of our electoral system and the capacity of the IEC, as it has been demonstrated repeatedly since 1994, to continue delivering smooth elections that will be certified certainly as having been free and fair. So the president has no concerns whatsoever in that regard. Safety plans have been presented, as well as all other preparatory measures. And so we are confident from the perspective of the president that South Africa will once again hold peaceful, free and fair elections, and will encourage those registered to vote to really embrace this special moment in our democracy, where we will be voting or participating in an election and celebrating the 30 years of our democracy. There were other questions that were sent directly to me. Tando Mayeko from Business Day on the progress with respect to the SOE holding company. That bill is still in Parliament. Unfortunately, due to it could not be processed before the end of the current term. So the 7th with the responsibility to see through the Tando. What I must emphasize and what is important to emphasize is that the president and the government that he leads remain committed to setting up the holding company as the commitment has been made. Guess that's it, colleagues. Oh, there was one other colleague who raised issues about the water situation at Tegwini. The president is deeply concerned about the situation in Etegwini, particularly with respect to the unfortunate actions of infrastructure destruction and vandalization, which have no place in our society and within the context of our constitutional democracy, which does provide mechanism for the resolution of labor disputes. And so that labor dispute in KZN should not result in any form of destruction of infrastructure. It should not result into any form of intimidation of those workers who continue to dedicate themselves in serving the residents of Etegwini. As you will recall, a couple of weeks ago, the president announced the formation or the instituting of the presidential Etegwini working group. And so that process is underway. The presidency has been drafting the terms of reference, which once signed off within the presidency will then be canvassed with the relevant stakeholders within the Etegwini Metro, but also be canvassed with other stakeholders that will be part of this collaborative effort aimed at bringing about an accelerated improvement with respect to service delivery in the metro. Excuse me. The president has written to the mayor, of which the mayor has responded quite positively, pledging his support to the initiative that the president has started. And so we look forward to high levels of operation and fruitful engagement with officials in Etegwini in looking at how we resolve these issues in the metro. Number of ministers, including the JCPS cluster, have been on the ground to look at the various issues that are currently plaguing the metro. So there is already work underway to look at ways in which we can support, from a perspective of national government, the people and the of Etegwini. So with respect to work that's already underway, the Department of Water and Sanitation is already working quite closely with Etegwini Metro, and the department has facilitated the involvement of Umgeni Utugela Water Board with respect to assisting the metro in some areas of work that are quite critical in ensuring that safe and clean water is provided to the residents of Etegwini. Kubantu baseThekwini, umongameli ulibhekile kakhulu lolu daba. Ongqongqoshe sebefikile eThekwini baba nemihlangano eminingi ukubheka izixazululo ezingenzeka ukulekelela kulolu daba lokushoda kwamanzi nezinye izidingo zomphakathi ezintulayo okwamanje eThekwini. Umongameli wamemezela i-presidential eThekwini Working Group. Lolo hlelo liyaqhubeka. Umeya waseThekwini usezwakalise ukuleseka naye wabhalela nondunankulu wesifundazwe ngoba lo msebenzi uzodinga zonke izigaba zikahulumeni ukuthi zisebenze ngokubambisana, zisebenzisana nosomabhizinisi abaseThekwini ukuze kukwazi ukuthi kutholakale isixazululo seyinkinga ey'bhekene nabantu baseThekwini ngokukhulu ukushesha. Okay, colleagues. Harji, you had that last bit. I don't need to translate it for you. I know your Zulu is quite good. So, oh, at least you got it. Nonetheless, you got it. So, I think we're good to go. We can knock off now. Right. Okay, great. Colleagues, thank you so much.